Hey y'all, welcome to my story. It's another video, so we're gonna keep on moving with the series. So, where was I? I was talking about right before I had my second baby girl. So, I was living in Colorado, and I was making a new me. I remember I had been in Colorado for like 3 weeks when Zach first called me and was like, "Hey girl, you want to hook up? You want to get together?" And I was like, "Huh, I'm not in the state anymore. I'm gone." And he didn't believe it, but I was gone. And whenever I first moved to Colorado, I was still very good friends with Brianna, and me and her would call and talk on the phone all the time. Honestly, during this time of my life, she was a saving grace. Because, like I said in the last video, I was very depressed. But Brianna really helped a whole lot. One of the things that we would do, because different states have different prices, we would go to different stores and tell each other the prices of things. So we really enjoyed doing that. I know it's silly, but just it's the little things that you find that you can enjoy in life and find a way to enjoy them, because that's what gets us through. So yeah, also, I hinted at that I did date. Oof. Also, I hinted at that I did date while I was pregnant, but I really didn't have a lot of success dating, and it wasn't that great. One thing that I did fail to mention was during this time, the beautiful girl that got me the job, she was she had just gotten with a man who was recently divorced. His wife had left him, and he had 3 kids, 3 boys. And she was with him, and I hung out with them all the time, and I was just like so enamored by her. I was just so in love with her. She was just so beautiful, and he was in love with her too. Like, me and him, we agreed that we love her and that she's just beautiful and magnificent and amazing. And we kind of had a polyamorous relationship for a while. It was kind of interesting and fun. Yeah, it was like I was in a throuple for a minute, but I walked in on her shooting up and doing hardcore drugs. And at the time, it's just not a place that I could be at. And, I was pregnant, and, she understood that. And I had to separate myself from her because of that. I went and I talked to my mother. I let my mother know what happened. And, my mom's like, "You've got to cut her off. You have to. You've got to cut her off." And, it's not what I wanted to hear. I ended up crying, went in my bedroom, and I cried. And it was really tough. It was hard for me. But I knew that I needed, like, it's not a road that I wanted to go down. It's not a road that I needed in my life. I was trying to get my life together, and I didn't need for drugs to tear it apart at this time. So I did end up cutting her off, and the owner of the company, she was manager, and the owner of the company was like, "I don't know what's going on," but she ended up firing her, and she came on, the owner now was the manager there daily. She ended up getting fired because, I mean, she went downhill. She really did. She went downhill, and he went downhill with her. So I'm not exactly sure what happened to them, but my mother, she had gone to college. Well, I was going to college. She was going to college. She got her psychology degree, and she was working as a drug counselor at a rehab. And so she was helping people. And later on, she asked me, she goes, "Is this the people?" And I was like, "That's them." And so they did end up in rehab later. But she didn't tell me much else. It's none of my business. And I think that she actually said, "I can't take them as clients of mine. There's a conflict of interest." I don't know, but I do know my mom was professional like that. So, it was really difficult for me. And I did date another guy. I started dating this one guy, and he would take me out to eat, and we would talk for hours. And, I thought that he was into me. And, I don't know. I knew that I was about to have my baby, and I was like, we had to wait until after baby's born to really get together, and he understood that. And when she was born, I felt like she would be coming soon, and I was really nervous and anxious for some reason. Like, for my first baby, love opened, and I saw how big love could be, but I was like, for some reason it felt like love couldn't be any bigger, and how could I give this much love to two babies? I don't know how that's possible. And so I had this anxiety and anxiousness, this worry that I'm not going to be able to be what she needs. And I was walking and pacing a whole lot, and I just, I would hunch down, and I felt like I was in labor. And I looked into it. These weren't Braxton Hicks. They weren't going away. I couldn't relax them away or anything. And so I went to my mother's house, and my mother's like freaking out, saying it's not the time. And I'm just like, I don't know what to say. She wanted her boyfriend there. He wasn't there, but she wanted him to be there. And I get her to take me to the hospital, and they hook me up to these monitors and everything, and they tell me, this is not real labor. This is false labor. You need to go home. And so I went home, and because I hadn't ate, I tried to eat some breakfast, and I couldn't. And I was just like in the bedroom, hunched over, crying. And I was like, I don't know. I really think this is real labor. I went to the bathroom, and my mucus plug fell out. And I was like, okay, this is real labor. Still, my mom's boyfriend is not showing up. She's trying to get him to show up. And I'm like, this is real labor. We've got to go to the hospital. And I mean, at this point, every single crack in the road, I can feel it. And I'm like, ah, ah. And we get to the hospital. They hook me up to the monitors, and they're just like, this is not real labor. This is false labor. You need to go home and do not come back. This is false labor. And so I was like, okay. So I go home, and, my mom had made some spaghetti, and I was trying to eat that, and I couldn't eat it at all. And again, just hunched over. My daughter comes over and hugs me, and it's just like knives everywhere, and I couldn't handle it. And I'm just like, I don't know. And I just, I'm starting to breathe harder, just naturally breathe harder. And I was like telling mom, I was like, I'm gonna have this baby. And she's just like, no, you're not. And now the contractions come with a and I mean, I'm not trying, they just naturally do that. And so I'm like, okay, something's got to give here. And my mom, like I said, she lived on the very, very top. So I knew that I couldn't make it down the stairs while the contractions were happening, and they were getting closer and closer. And so I'm at the top of the stairs, and I'm having my contraction pushing. And then as soon as that's over, I run to the bottom of the stairs. And my mom's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I've got to do something. And I had a contraction as soon as I got to the bottom of the stairs, and I pushed with it. And then I ran to the next top of the stairs, because there's a area. And I had to, and that's as far as I got. And then the neighbors are watching. They're like, she's about to have that baby. She's having that baby. And they were like, these other neighbors came out and offered to watch my daughter And I agreed because they're really good people. They have kids of their own, really awesome people. I was like, that's really cool, yeah, take my daughter and watch her because I'm about to have this baby for sure. And, yeah, I ran down the stairs again, had a contraction, and then I ran to the car and I had a contraction before I could get in the car. And I got in the car, and I mean, I just put my feet up because it was the most comfortable position. And from there, I just was having contractions, and every single crack in the road now on the way to the hospital was like, like, and my mom, like, she was like, oh my God, the baby, and I was like, I know, and I'm like, I'm having this baby, and she pulls up to the hospital doors, and she runs in, and she's like, my daughter's having the baby right now, right now. They had to go, they came and saw me, and they were like, whoa, and like, I don't know, but they came and saw me, and they went and they got a bed, and they put me directly on the bed. And yeah, everybody was there. I remember being on this bed, and they're pushing me into the hospital in the waiting room, because we're at the, the ER, the beginning, the doors, and like, I'm on this bed, and I know that my baby is like about to be out, and sure enough, they just get me into this room, into the side, and the doctor was like, push, and I mean, 5 minutes maybe, and she was here, and I was just like, and the nurse was like, see, don't you feel better? And I go, no, that was the worst experience of my life. And she goes, that's your baby. I'm not talking about my baby. My baby's not the worst experience of my life. That birth experience was horrible and awful, and it didn't have to be that way, but it was that way because of your hospital staff. That's what I meant. So I just want to get that out. See, that's what the story's all about. It's getting out all the stuff that I held in for years. Years and years and years. I held this shit in. And yeah, I'm done. So it's all coming out now. So anyway, they give me my baby girl, and I hold her, and she is so tiny, y'all. She was the tiniest. All my baby girls, her face looked just like her father. Like, I didn't need a DNA test. This was Zach. It was Zach's face. But she was just this tiny little shriveled up thing with ugly man face for some reason. And I was in love. I was like madly, deeply in love. Love expanded even bigger. Like, I didn't even know how big love can be, but it is so big that you can hold this massive expansion for one being and hold this massive expansion for yet another being easily, not difficultly, but easily. Love is so, so, so big. Like, oh my gosh, I have made two wonderful, beautiful, beautiful, amazing little girls. And I love them so much. And love is so big. I now have this conquering love within me. Just something came over me, and it's just like me and my baby girls against this world. Good luck, world. Good luck, world. Because it's me and my baby girls against the world. And good luck, world. For real. Oh my gosh. So that made it beautiful. That made it worth it. 1,000 times over. 1,000,000 times over made it worth it. So there's the birth story, guys. Thank you for holding in there. Hope you're enjoying my story. Thank you so much for making it to the end. I love you so much for that. You are amazing. So much. Thank you. And as always, be blessed with love. That's all she got.